Hi all, welcome back to the final whistle then for another match preview. Leicester City take on Charlton Athletic this weekend, and this one could be a fun one to be fair. Andy King takes charge of Leicester in his first interim game as Fox's boss before we actually get into a new manager again. It'll be the fourth Leicester City manager within a year and a half for the Foxes when we do appoint another permanent one. We're going to discuss Leicester versus Charlton and will the Foxes players actually turn up this time? Coady returns to the King Power Stadium as a Charlton player, as he has now joined them on loan, or should we say media loan, whichever way. Will he be on there in the media room more times than a football pitch? Only Louis going to tell us that from Charlton Live. Steve's going to be joining us as well. Let's see who's in. Kyle, how are we? He's probably gone to watch Coronation Street. Probably have, mate, to be fair. Not got on the telly in front of me, I ain't really. Phil, how are we? Paul, hello. Hello, Andreas, how are we? Ronald McDonald, how are we, mate? Evening all. Interesting to see the reaction of the players on the pitch Saturday to see Marty's leaving. You'll sort of see how we sort of go about things, because maybe the players will make it look like the manager's fault. I don't know. Everyone hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. It'd be really appreciated if you're a Charlton fan. Come and get involved. Also, go and check out Championship Predictions Week 30. As me and Steve was joined by Rich from the Suffolk Crunch as we gave all the predictions for this weekend's games. Right, let's get the boys in then. Steve, how are we?
Yeah, apologies for being late. My wife got a hand open, so I had to deal with that first.
Fantastic. Should we get Louis Mendes in from the Charlton Live?
Sure.
Let's have a chat. Let me move Louis up there. Louis, how are we, my friend?
Welcome. Yeah, I'm all good. I'm all good. Thanks, Jack. How's it going? Good to see you, Steve. All right.
How are we doing?
It's not bad. Not bad.
It's all right, mate. It's some have based it down as the old Crapico, where both sides need a win. Both sides can ship goals like it's no one's business this season, and none of us can really keep a clean sheet unless you're Leicester with 23 games in the league without a clean sheet now, Louis, to be fair, mate. What's it like at Charlton?
Well, we've kept more clean sheets than that, but not many recently. That was the bedrock of our season at the start of it. We were keeping clean sheets for fun, but yeah, it's all gone a bit sour over the last few weeks. We've on a difficult run of form. Obviously got beat 4 at Millwall last week, which is just a disaster for any Charlton side, because they're a local rival of ours, and we haven't beaten them for 30 years, which is an incredibly bad run against them. So to go there and get beat 4-0 was very, very demoralised. And then we've just had a really well-win sort of 24, 48 hours where we've had 6 transfers in and out. It's been a crazy 24 hours. Like a relatively popular player who fans wanted to see play a bit more in. Rob Apter's gone out on loan. There's a couple that gone out. Obviously, Connor Cody's come in, as you've mentioned, and which I'm sure you'll be excited to talk about. But yeah, it's been a whirlwind 48 hours or so.
Talk to me, Steve. Connor Coady. We'll get this one out of the way quite quickly, to be honest, won't we, when we talk about the man who cost Leicester 100 grand a week, one of the biggest high earners at the club. Left in the summer to join Wrexham. Leicester paid off his got a fee for him in the end, didn't they, Steve? He did go to Wrexham, played a couple of games, and then they were obviously fed up with him. And then he's been seen a lot on media and TV rather than on a football pitch, and then you find him at the Valley, now on loan at Charlton, Steve.
Yeah, Mr. Podcast, as we like to refer to him. He does more time speaking in the studio than actually, playing football. Look, I'll be honest, I don't think Connor Coady was necessarily the issue at Leicester City. He was signed. Excuse me, I've had a Dorito, so I'm a bit dry mouth. Give me a second. He was signed to be a leader at Leicester City, but unfortunately for him, he got injured when he signed for us. So his time he wasn't brought into the first team for a couple of months. And at that point, we set up a partnership between Watford and Vestergaard, and that went on to win the league. In the Premier League, look, he's not good enough for the Premier League. We all know that. We can see that now. He's at his level at the moment. And yeah, he had to go. He was on a high wage. Wrexham wanted him, paid the money for him. But I think even they, after the first sort of 6 or 7 games, realised that he's probably not at this level, sort of high-end championship anyway. But look, they always say, a change is as good as a rest. He might rock up at Charlton and put in some decent performances. It all depends on the atmosphere that he's in. But we all know he has a tendency to say it's the best internal atmosphere wherever he goes. So good luck to you. That's all I'll say.
Louis, what's your thoughts on the signing of Conor Coady, mate?
Yeah, I mean, obviously vastly experienced. We sort of spoke to people involved with Leicester the other day to find out a bit more about him, and obviously we don't get glowing reviews from him. Didn't bother asking anyone at Wrexham how he's been getting on, because obviously he hasn't been playing. He's only played about 5 games, I think, since he went in. So I mean, Nathan Jones spoke about his leadership qualities and that being important, bringing him into the group for that as well. But obviously, if he's going to play championship football for us, then we need to make sure that he's still up to the level. So, as I do with all signings, I'll see what he's like in a Charlton shirt before I get too carried away either way.
Yep.
And hopefully he can be the sort of Conor Coady that got England caps earlier on in his career, rather than the one that, managed to get a nickname like a podcaster, which is, I don't want to steal in our thunder, do we?
I want to ask you another thing, actually, Louis. Lyndon Dykes, one that Leicester City was very much after and competing Charlton for in the end. We did sort of make a late move for him, but he obviously ended up picking Charlton in the end. What's been your thoughts on the Lyndon Dykes signing? Is it one that really brings you some optimism with that one, or was you not really sure?
I wasn't massively excited when I heard he was coming in. I'd seen him play a couple of times for QPR covering other games, and I'd seen the most recent one was a couple of years ago, and he didn't have a great game. So that always colours things in your mind, doesn't it? But what I had heard about him is how hard he'll work and that he's a good character and that sort of stuff. So in his first game, he literally got an assist with his first touch in a Charlton shirt. Came off the bench against Sheffield United at half time when they were down to 9 men, headed across for Carey to score. So started off well. Since then, the Derby game, which we lost, it felt like he wasn't massively involved. Charlton weren't creating a great deal for him at all. And then we went to Millwall last week, and the one time he touched the ball, he was sort of he was penalised for a foul that looked very, very harsh against him when he was trying to bear down on goal, and ended up getting a shot away. I mean, it was a difficult chance, and he forced the keeper into a save, but the whistle had already gone at that point. So we haven't seen a great deal from him yet. Like I say, got off to a good start, but again, sort of see how he gets on in this Nathan Jones side. I suspect he'll be one who can win a lot in the air, and like I say, got an assist with his first touch doing just that. So hopefully he'll do a bit more of that for us.
Yeah, no, and bloody against Leicester, we were after him. It'd be first touch, first goal. Steve, Leicester managerless. Andy King will take charge as an interim. It's not the usual positions, but Andy King, I said it to Louis earlier on about how he's having to deal with a lot of players on big money and that, and a squad that just really seems to be careless, who we're not giving what the fans want to see from a fan's perspective. But what is your thoughts with King going into this first game? Obviously, he's had a few days with the squad now to prepare him ahead of this one, which is it's a big game, by the way, with how things are going at the club at the minute. It's a much needed one where we need to get the points. What is your thoughts, Steve?
Well, I mean, to be honest, we lost the manager, and I think it's been a long overdue. I mean, I was saying sort of around November time, after the Southampton and the Sheffield United results for the first time round, when we were 3-0 down at half time, he probably should have lost his job then. But we stuck it out, we limped along, and here we are now. And I'll be honest, he deserved to lose his job at the weekend. The performance against Coventry in the second half, Wrexham away, and then that game on Saturday were atrocious. Like some of the worst football I've ever seen. If you come to the King Power and you get outmanned, outplayed, technically better, Oxford, and they're not doing great. And we've got players like Abdul Fatawu and these players in the squad. You should be doing better, but my God, it was awful. So he had to lose his job, in my opinion. And then Andy King, let's hope that he changes it a little bit. He brings some younger lads back in, and we see a bit of a change in the attitude of the players. Because as much as we can blame Marty, the players take a lot of the blame as well. I think the atmosphere will be better. Andy King is the manager. I think that's important.
Yeah.
I think whoever gets the early goal, if there is an early goal, will control the game. So I just hope that we go the first 10 minutes without conceding a goal, because we have a tendency to do that. That's the 10th time this season we've conceded a goal within the first 10 minutes of a game. So yeah, let's hope that's not the case. But I'm optimistic. I'm optimistic.
Louis, what's your thoughts, mate, on Leicester?
Well, when we played you earlier on in the season, we should have absolutely battered you, but somehow lost 1-0.
You did batter us, didn't you?
So yes, I haven't been massively impressed. Obviously, you've got these great individual players like Fatawi scored that unbelievable goal against us. That was a real eye opener. Actually, that was you're back in the big time now. If you've got players in the Championship who can do that to you in an instant, whereas if someone in League One had that shot, it'd be taking out someone by the corner flag, wouldn't it? So that was a bit of an eye opener, that one. But yeah, I mean, it's clear the toxicity around the King Power Stadium has been quite clear to see this season. When you're in a death spiral, like a relegation spiral, coming down from the Premier League into the Championship, and sometimes it's hard to shake that off. There's obviously a lot going on behind the scenes. I read with interest some of the comments from the ownership, a few hours before sacking Marty Cifuentes over the weekend, which was quite. I mean, the timing of all that was bizarre, wasn't it? But when we talk about the fact we're going up against the Leicester side, we're talking about, for us, there's still players that have played at the level above in the Premier League, and they will have these individual moments. Obviously, I know you're playing a fair bit of youth at the moment as well, but yeah, from a Charlton point of view, we're looking going into Saturday. Like we massively need some sort of reaction. Things have got a little bit toxic with us over the last few weeks, particularly after the defeat at Millwall, which it ruins any goodwill for a lot of people because of the manner of it. We were so poor last weekend against one of our local rivals, arguably our biggest one at the moment. So we need a reaction, and we need to get a fast start, I feel, on Saturday to try and turn that crowd on. Yeah, I think, to be fair, like we were all saying last week, I mean, Marty got sacked while we were doing our live show last Sunday, and we were starting off by going that next week we need to go there and try and take something from the fact that the manager's under a bit of pressure, and he was sacked by the end of the show, and now you've got someone who you're all loving, and we've all been at grounds when you've got someone really popular in charge and it's their first game, and that changes the atmosphere immediately. So it'll be interesting to see if we can try and take hold of the fact that maybe the players aren't still massively popular, but with Andy King in charge, it might take a bit of the heat off them for now.
Steve, I reckon, I think Louis right in it. I think it sort of maybe picked Leicester up with the manager going. They've obviously got a lot to answer for these players, and hopefully Andy King's put a rocket up their arse this week. Obviously, we're still not to see who the next manager is going to be, or whether Andy King will take it now till the end of the season, until they actually go out and thoroughly have a look at who they can bring in. Obviously, there's been a lot of managers who have been speculated with: Russell Martin, Gary Rowett, Vitor Pereira, the ex-Wolves manager. There's been a fair few names being just thrown about at the minute, aren't they, Steve? With, like you will do with agents, they like to say that consideration for every bloody Tom, Dick and Harry, don't they, when it comes to every manager role being available. What type of manager do Leicester need, Steve? Because Top talks about, he always liked the Enzo's style of football, but then you reiterate back to the summer that John Rudkin was happy enough with Chris Wilder or Sean Dyche to sort of come in steady the ship and sort it out. But then it just shows that, there's just no alignment in connectivity to what exactly do Leicester want and how they go a way of getting it, Steve. So what do you think, Steve, regarding the managerial situation?
At the moment, I actually don't think we'll bring a manager in for at least 4 or 5 weeks. I think the technical director will be in first, and then they'll make the decision on the manager going forward. I think I don't think we're going to sign a manager until the start of the season. I think we might bring a sort of caretaker manager in to help Andy King out, but I don't think we'll see a full-time manager going in until the summer. So we all scream about Nigel Pearson, but by all accounts, from what I've heard, he's not even been approached by the club. So the chances are that we might even go for someone like Gary Rowett, which won't fit the style of play or the players that we've got. But if it's a case of trying to put the fire out and hoping that we can keep it under control before the summer, then great. But yeah, I don't know, in all honesty, but I just don't think we'll get a full-time manager in any time soon.
I think the squad's way for thin at Leicester. You've seen Bouba Samare go out on a permanent transfer today. Jake Evans has gone on loan to Northampton, which leaves the positions very much urgent to get this January transfer window, Steve, with Leicester need a striker. Leicester need a midfielder. Jordan James is injured for a month or so. Skip maybe will be missing again this weekend due to the concussion that he received at Wrexham. So Leicester, it's desperate times for desperate measures at Leicester ahead of this one, isn't it, Steve? We maybe have to put square pegs in round holes, but that obviously hasn't worked a lot this season when we've tried that under the ex-manager. So how do you sort of think with Kingy, how do you think he will sort of prep ahead of this one?
I think he will most likely pick a lot of the players that have already played. I can't see there being many changes or any sort of left field players coming in. The biggest thing, I think Skip comes back into the squad for sure, and he'll probably partner Louis Page in midfield. And then I think that maybe a Luco plays at left back over Luke Thomas, but the rest of it, I think it seems pretty simple. I think we still play Jordan Ayew. I would like Patterson Daka over Ayew, but I can't see it happening, unfortunately. So it will be a lot of the same players, but with a bit more sprinkling of youth.
Louis, what's your thoughts? Have you got any questions? So I'd be interested to know about Fatawa a bit more, actually, because obviously, like, we Charlton fans all assume he's the greatest player of all time based on the fact he scored a couple of decent goals. But is he really as inconsistent as people have made out? I've heard he really blows hot and cold. Yeah,
he scores a worldie every sort of 2 or 3 games, and you think, fucking hell, this is the Abdul that we love to see. But the problem is, when he scored that goal from halfway, he's then tried it 3 times in 3 separate games since. And you're like, mate, you stop, please. It's so frustrating because the amount of times we're all screaming for him to take on his man and he cuts inside and tries to shoot. And you're like, oh my God, I know you're trying to make things happen, but he's got all the talent in the world. And when he's confident, he's a fantastic player. But I also feel like he's trying to do too much because we're playing shit and he wants to, cheer up the crowd. So it depends on which one turns up, in all honesty.
The other question I got, so Jack was just on our show a few minutes ago, and I know you get asked this a lot. And in my regard, it's certainly out of hope. But the points deduction, are Leicester fans fully expecting that to happen this season and to count this season and to be significant enough that you are going to be dragged into the position with us? Because we had one of your local journalists on our another pod I do yesterday, and Rob Tanner, and he was telling us about it's expected to be maybe 7 to 9 points, which I think would even put you below us in the table. So is that still what you're expecting? Are you guys sort of prepared for that, and that's going to happen this season?
So by all accounts, and the big rumor that it was going to come this week, I think it will come within the next couple of weeks for sure. We'll get the transfer window out of the way, and then it will hit us then. I agree with Rob. I think it's sort of 7 to 10 rather than 7 to 9. And if it's 9 points, we are going to be down there. And I've said this on several shows since sort of September, October time, really, when we were playing quite poor back then. There are a lot of parallels between the first time we went down from the Premier League and this season as well. There's a lot of players that are playing first team football that aren't playing very well. They're out of contract anyway. And you get to sort of 5 or 6 games towards the end of the season. And a lot of the players from sort of 3 years ago, you can't prove it. Obviously, it's very difficult to say you're not trying, but the levels dropped off significantly. So, rather than a player giving sort of 90, 95%, they were giving sort of 60 to 70. And I think if you got 3 or 4 players doing that, the chances are the team are going to be affected because they all want to sign a new contract in the summer with a new club and get a signing on fee. So why would they put the effort in to potentially get injured? So I think if we do get 9 to 10 points, we are very much in trouble because this squad doesn't have the balls or the know-how to get out of a relegation battle, because last year wasn't a battle because we just got battered. We went 10 or 11 games without scoring at home, which was the worst feeling. You go to a football match and you hope your team scores a goal, and you don't see it for 10, 11 games. Honestly, it's so draining. But yeah, this season it'll be the same. We've got individual quality, but as a team collective, it just doesn't feel like it's very sort of, they're all not pulling in the same direction. So yeah, I think we could be down there for sure.
It must have been so demoralising to watch the second half of last season. It's just like, I mean, that's the risk, isn't it? If you go up to the Prem now, you just know it feels like we're going to get beat every week. Luckily, it's not something we're going to be concerned about for a little while. But yeah, crazy.
Well, the worst point. So there's 2 games I'll point out last season that made me think, why the fuck am I going? The first one was Newcastle away. We took off Hermansen because he got injured at half time. We brought Danny Ward on, and we were 3-0 down within 4 minutes of the second half. That was awful. And then the next one, Everton away from home, we were 2-0 down within 6 minutes, and I left.
Cheers, Steve.
It was so depressing. And to be fair, you can point out some of the results this year. We've been 3 goals down in the first half of football like 5 times this season already. And that is, Southampton, like me and Jack went down to Southampton and 3-0 down at half time. The week after we lost to Sheffield United, we were 3-0 down at half time. I luckily missed the QPR game where we were 4-0 down at half time. But I think within 6 games, we'd been 3-0 down or 4-0 down at half time in 3 of the 6 games. So yeah, just
it's not a great feeling. So you keep mentioning Southampton, they were 5-0 up at half time against us at the Valley, 4-0 up after 22 minutes. Those 4 goals were within 8 minutes. Then the next game against Stoke, we were 2-0 down after 5 minutes. So it's not a nice situation to be in. Hopefully it won't be the case hopefully it won't be the case for us on Saturday. I'll be happy if it's the case for you.
I know, so let's hope we're not the same either.
Yeah. 0-0 after 5 minutes, and then we'll see where we get from there.
Yes.
Around the bloody back more between Leicester and Charlton. They all like the tippy-tappy football, don't they? And, it's a way of Andy King finding a different style of approach to the game that Leicester don't keep clean sheets, Louis. We've not kept one for 23 straight league games this season. We haven't had one since Coventry back in September. It's like 0-0. So
it's mad that the last one you had was against the team that scored like 5,000 goals this season as well.
Honestly, it's crazy how, and then you go into the Charlton game. Charlton haven't won since October away from home. Was it Ipswich? Was he last away with?
Yeah, so we've won 2 away from home, Sheffield United and Ipswich. So we do like beating teams who've been in the Premier League recently away from home. But yeah, they're the only 2. So we've had 9 away games since the Ipswich game, and lost 6 of them, drawn 3 of them. So 3 points from 27 on the road. We've not been good, overall on the road. We ain't been much better at home recently, but we do tend to have a decent home record. But yeah, away from home has been a different story this season.
That's my sort of thinking with this game, that because Andy King's come in, hopefully he can just turn a little corner a bit, that pick up these points what we haven't been managing to pick up as a squad, really pick up the team, because we're a moment side this season where we can be well out of a game, and then you see against West Brom we're just getting hammered, and then you end up getting that goal in like the 90th minute where Fatawu scores an absolute belter. I think that's the way we'd sum us up this season, Steve, with the worldies that we have scored in games, and you're thinking, how the hell have we got points from this? You look at the Wrexham result not long ago where we weren't in the game and then we score in the 90th minute, and, that's not good. We should be able to be comfortable in games, but we're not. We make it very hard work of ourselves. And then every team this season that we've played, Louis, and you see now at the Valley that everyone fancies it against us. Even you lot did it at the Valley. You made it difficult for us, and then we just score that moment, that big moment. I think that was the only big moment we had in the game, and we just took our chance and scored. So I would take that sort of game tomorrow Saturday, where if we can just have one shot on goal and we actually score the goal and get the 3 points, that's fantastic. But I don't think Charlton's going to be there to be easy of how you need that response after the Millwall result, which was demoralising, winning to lose by 4. So Nathan Jones is one of them where he'll plan well against Leicester. He'll look at how Leicester have been performing this season, and keeping the likes of Abdullah, and Jordan James is going to be a massive miss again as well. So we're just going to have to try and deal without him for now, which is going to be difficult because he's been on main play this season. Let's have a look at the last time he plays you lot at home, which would have been the 1st of March 2014. Leicester won 3-0. Vardy scored, Drinkwater scored, and David Nugent scored. So we actually had a striker back then, Louis, mate. We haven't got Jamie Vardy now, I'm afraid. We haven't got a striker who can actually score goals. So we like to play 10 men. You probably see Jordan Ayew on the halfway line on Saturday doing the defensive work rather than the attacking side of things. But I think Kingy will maybe find a little team spirit. I think the atmosphere will be maybe a bit better with Kingy in charge. But yeah, we need to get through probably the first 20 minutes, get the first goal in the game and pick it by the scruff of its neck. But I don't think it'd be an easy game at all, to be honest. And Charlton will obviously look to be licking Leicester's wounds, to be fair.
It's interesting. I remember that game 2014. I remember coming away. I went to that one. I remember coming away saying that at that point, Leicester were the best side I'd ever seen at Championship level. They were so good that season. Obviously winning the title in the Premier League a couple of years later, which I can't say I predicted, but I did say you looked a decent side. But I can't believe it's been so long actually since we've been at Leicester. I had some good memories there. We had I think it must have been a season before when a former favourite of yours scored a goal for us, Jan Kermigan. Obviously had a little run of scoring. Yeah, a little run of scoring against you, but we scored an absolute screamer winner, Danny Haynes volley. So that's one of my favourite nights ever following Charlton. Actually, we all stayed over in Leicester for the Tuesday night game. But yeah, some good memories up at that place. But that 3-0 defeat was one of the most one-sided games I've ever seen at Championship level. Hopefully, no repeat on Saturday.
Steve, I've got a question for you. Do you see Harry Winks getting minutes versus Charlton? And I asked the Leicester fans this. Now Marty's gone, about how Harry Winks has been missing Annie for a long time due to attitude problems and whatever's happened at the training ground. Marty throws him out altogether, which you should as a manager if players are performing the way they are doing with what Harry Winks is doing. He obviously is a big earner as well. What's you sort of thinking with Harry Winks? Because he is looking to leave this January transfer window. Potentially he will be gone by deadline day. What's you sort of thinking with the Harry Winks situation, Steve? Now Marty's gone.
I mean, he will likely get minutes if he's walking around Charlton, but I don't think he's going to get minutes against Charlton.
This is why I asked you to answer it.
Yeah, I think he's more likely to be walking around London, with his missus and his kids than he is to be playing football at the moment. Look, Harry Winks, he's somebody that, was fantastic when we signed him, but the last 18 months or so, falling out with two separate managers, you're being paid a significant amount of money to play football, and you'd rather go and drink an apple spritzer at Winter Wonderland than actually play football. So, yeah, get him gone. In all honesty, I don't want to see him anywhere near this football club again. That's for sure.
Right, so I'm the same. I don't want to see him in a Leicester shirt again. I'll be honest. Right, so let's get a few stats. So Leicester have won just one of their last 5 championship matches. Charlton are winless in their last 4 away league games, conceding 10. But Charlton are a side that can score goals. They've scored 5 in the last 5. So it is 14th versus 19th. There's 6 points that split these two, of course. Both sides do like to concede goals. Team selection then, Louis. How do you think they'll line up with this one? Does Coady start?
Don't think so, but I don't really know. We've had so many signings over the last 24 hours. It's hard to say with any certainty. I mean, Kaminsky will definitely be in goal.
Yeah.
Lloyd Jones will start centre half for us in the middle of the park. Not just our best player this season, but actually been statistically one of the best Championship defenders this season. Has had a problem with his ankle, but he played for it at Millwall last week, and I suspect he'll play again. Left-hand side of defence, we've got Macaulay Gillespie, who scored our winning goal at Wembley last season, but he has struggled recently without a recognised left centre-half alongside him, although or a left wing-back, I should say, alongside him. But we have got one now who's coming on loan from Liverpool, a guy called Chambers. So right-hand side of the defence will either be Burke or Ramsey. Ramsey's been excellent over the last 18 months or so, but has had a bit of a stinker recently. Burke didn't have a great game at Millwall, but no one did. Right hand side, we've just signed Harry Clark on loan from Ipswich, so I imagine he'll start again. The midfield's been a difficult place for us at the moment, so Greg Doherty, who's a club captain, has not really been featuring the last 2 or 3 weeks. In his place, Croy Anderson, youth product, who's not the sort of player you want in a game where you're going to have a lot of possession. But if we're not going to have a lot of possession, then you can do the running around and the challenging a bit. Connor Coventry, I suspect, will come back in and play. Then in the 10 role, I think it'll be Sonny Carey, who is our top scorer and started really well. Hasn't been as good recently, but scored against Sheffield United, hopefully pick up. And then up top, well, I assume it'll be Lyndon Dykes because he started the last couple, but if it was up to me, it'd be Miles Leeburn. And then alongside him, probably either Tyrese Campbell, and again, if it's up to me, it'd be Tyrese Campbell or Charlie Kelman, who's had a lot of goals over the last 2 weeks, but then hasn't played recently. So who knows? It's hard to predict at the moment with us because we haven't been great recently. So Nathan's been chopping and changing a few things to try and find the winning formula, which obviously we haven't found in the last couple of games.
Steve, Leicester.
You'll have Jakob in goal. I do think that Luco plays left back with Coady in Vestergaard, and then it will be Ricardo right back, Skip and Page, winger Mavididi, Bobby Decordova-Reid, Abdul Fatawu. I always stumble on that name. It's just the way it's said, Fatawu. And then I actually think Patson Daka will start up front.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me, that, to be fair. I know he's been... Marty liked a bit of the Jordan Ayew, didn't he, quite a bit. Even in games that you need to have someone who can run a lot and chase the defenders down. And Louis, can you remember Paul Konchesky?
Oh, yeah, big time. He was... obviously one of our youth products. I think he's still, I don't know if he might have been superseded by John Joe Selvey as the youngest player to ever play for our club. But when he first made his debut against, I think it was an Oxford game in the mid-90s, he was the youngest player to ever play for us. But yeah, he's a good player for us. They had him back on the pitch before a game relatively recently. Might have been the Leicester game actually earlier in the season to sort of wave at the crowd and that. But yeah, he was a popular player, Paul. He was scored a great free kick for us once against Blackburn Rovers. Beat a lot of time for him.
I remember his absolute belter at Molineux, don't you, Steve? With his bald head, he scored a few crackers, didn't he, Paul Konchesky? Whenever one who'd score an absolute tap-in, he'd always score one from distance, and I absolutely love the bloke, to be fair, Paul.
I mean, I'm trying to do Paul Konchesky myself, but it's not as quite as good.
Lewis, score prediction, mate. What do you reckon?
Tough one, isn't it? I don't know. Neither side's in great form. Neither side's full of confidence. Both sides need a result. I just hope our need for a result outshines yours. So I'm going to go. I'm going to go a sneaky 1-0 win for Charlton. But that's all hope and not expectation.
Steve, how optimistic are you with Leicester, mate?
Well, never at the moment. Let's be honest. It's been awful this season. I did say 2-0 on the prediction show earlier on, so I'm going to stick with that. It's 2-0 to Leicester, not to Charlton, unfortunately. I'm really sorry about that, but I just want a performance where we're not booing the players when they get off the pitch. To be honest, that would be quite nice.
Yeah, it'd be nice for the players to actually turn up and actually fight for the shirt and actually do something, for once, and actually get the goals and get us to 3 points. So I'm going to go for Kingy to get the first win under his interim for the first game. So yeah, I'm going to go 2-0 Leicester. Leicester to actually end this drought of a clean sheet and actually get one at the weekend. So I'm expecting a good encounter with the Addicts in this one, and hopefully Leicester come out on top, fingers crossed. So Louis, thanks for coming on, mate. Really appreciate your time.
Yeah,
thanks for having me. Thanks for having me on as well on Charlton Live. But give your channel a plug, man, what you do over at Charlton Live.
Yeah, so we're on YouTube like you guys. So we're on Charlton Live. We're on Sunday mornings after the games. And then we preview the game on a Thursday. So yeah, feel free to come and check us out if you want to see our preview. And yeah, if you want to see Jack coming on our show to speak mainly about Connor Coady, to be fair. But yeah, check it out.
Yeah, that weren't the case. Not joking. Cheers for coming on, Louis, mate. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Right, Steve, the talking's done. Well, the Foxes out, Fox the Addicts, and we spoke a bit about Conor Coady at the start. They obviously asked me about how Leicester fans feel about Conor Coady, and I just say a little bit got said. I didn't want to give too much away, but this is a game where it's a must-win, isn't it, Steve?
Yeah, I would say so. We need to start pushing in the right direction, and a win will alleviate any sort of fears with the points deduction looming over our heads. So, yeah, get into them early, Leicester. That would be nice, and let's beat these addicts, these little slugs.
Right, what we're expecting, Steve, with the January transfer window, do you reckon obviously be any movement coming in? Because there's Samara now gone to Qatar, Jake Evans has gone out on loan, which leaves us quite short in areas. What do you reckon? Do you reckon there'll be any movement at all?
I'm led to believe there'll be hopefully at least two that we'll bring in. They're looking at a striker still and looking at a centre midfielder with the JJ injury. So I'd like to think that would be the case, but let's be honest, it's Leicester City. We don't do anything until the last day of the window anyway. So Monday will be an interesting couple of hours as they count down towards the end of the window. But I will say, if we get Harry Winks out the door, I'll be happy. You know, as much as I'd like to sign players, if we get Harry Winks out on a permanent, then we save some more money, and it means that we're looking a little bit brighter in the summer.
There we go. I'm hoping we see something more positive at the weekend than Jack's food review. It's the only thing that's been going for the last few weeks, man. I appreciate it.
No, Ray, no, because he did a bacon and sausage burger fucking cob the other day. That was fucking ridiculous.
Tell you what, I went into hospitality and I had some naan bread and it was absolutely bloody rock hard. I thought, what am I supposed to be doing with this? The bloody crunchery about sent me to the dentist.
So I did hospitality for the Atletico Madrid home game and the Sevilla one before that as well. Expensive, don't get me wrong. But I could only get those tickets because the rest had sold out. And I'll be honest, the food was pretty good. But then I did spend, it was like 200 quid a ticket to go in that bit. So you'd expect it to be good, right? You didn't even get a free drink, though. They didn't give you a free drink. You have to pay for your drink still. Outrageous.
But there we go. What's your gut feeling on formation, Steve?
It'll be same as always. 4-2-3-1.
Jay says about trying on loan Harrison Armstrong from Everton before he goes on loan to Preston North End.
Hang on, whoa, Jenny, you're thinking that Leicester are going to be proactive? No. Leicester are reactive. They won't do anything.
Well, Steve, shout out the championship predictions for us, mate.
Yep. If you haven't seen it, Jack is officially going to be drug tested over the weekend. Because we think he's been cheating. But yeah, at the moment, I'm bottom. Jack's come back from nowhere and has sent me bottom of the league. But he's in second place. Rich is in the lead for those sort of things. But if you want to hear me shit talk, Stoke, Middlesbrough, Derby, Portsmouth, you know, the list goes on. Go and give it a like. We want to hit 100 likes this week, so it'd be nice if you could.
There we go. Thanks for watching the preview. Take care, everyone. Have a great rest of the evening. Up the Foxes. And come on, Kingy.